Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can.
Okay, and she is joining us via Zoom from a remote location, which means that we will go ahead and take our vote. Can you hear me now? Oh, and the echo is back. Okay.
Yes, I can.
Okay, and she is joining us via Zoom from a remote location, which means that we will go ahead and take our vote. Can you hear me now?
No, none at this time.
Pam, do you have any comments or announcements?
None at this time, thank you.
And I have no comments or announcements this time. Does the administration have any
No, none at
comments
this
or
time.
announcements? Pam, do you have any comments or announcements? The show must go on. And I have no comments or announcements this time.
So I'll just make a
Does
brief
the administration have
announcement.
any
No, none at
comments or
Um,
announcements?
As of early
Pam,
this
do you have
morning,
any
I
comments or
am a new
announcements?
grandfather.
The show must go on.
Oh, terrific.
Healthy
see that when we do history next year, that will come up. And then right now we're slated the following year to do science. And so we think that that will come up that following year.
Janet,
Yes.
and just for clarification, ELA is English Language
Oh.
Arts, ELD is English Language Development, and then NGSS is Next Generation Science Standards. Just to clarify
Right.
those
Thank you.
those acronyms.
I apologize for using the acronyms. So yes. Okay, you've seen this data before. Part of our requirement is to have state and local data, and our state data right now is old. But what we can look at is trends, and trends is when we look at least 3 years of data. And what you're going to see is that before the COVID, we were starting to have some slight trends up. So if you look at the English Language Arts, which is the chart on the left, this is showing it by ethnicity. And you'll see that our Asian population is very strong, and our African American group is lower down, but you do see it trending up. And then if you go into math, which is on the right-hand side, you're going to see that with the African American population, that one does show trending up, but we do have a gap there that we need to continue to make that a sharper slope and a higher curve so we can get them caught up. And you'll see that our American Indian are doing very strong in math. Okay, if we take a look at CASP results by program, then what you'll see is our, on the left-hand side is our English Language Arts. And looking at our different programs, we look at all students is the orange, in case it's hard to see from a distance. And so we want to look and see how everybody compares to what the all student is. And you'll see that really for the most part, well, we do have a slight downward trend with homeless, and it's going to be on both charts. You'll see it on both charts. Our homeless population is a smaller number, so it's more volatile. You will see more ups and downs with it, but we do have to take a look at this trend because on both, we're seeing a trend down. So we'll have to take a look at what we can do, and we have addressed this in the LCAP of a couple things that we think will help with the homeless for this coming year. And one thing that I will bring up right now is that we're looking at doing more check-ins with our counselors on the homeless and seeing where they're at and how they're doing. And then we're looking at doing some targeted homework support with them after school tutoring to see if that will help as well. So we did that and add that into the LCAP, knowing that that was a trend that was a downward trend. And we wanted to see if we could get that inverted. We do see our students with disabilities. They do have a slight trend up on our English Language Arts. We do see that there is a gap there and we need to work on that. And of course, we see in our math that that one's more steady. It seems to be hanging steady. So we'll have to kind of figure out what we can do again to raise that curve a little bit more so that we can work on finding ways to help close that gap as well. Now this data is actually telling us what's going on this year. So this is our iReady assessment that we did at the end of the year. Pros and cons to this assessment, to be honest, is that some of the students did take it remotely because all of the kids that we had in distance learning took it at home. So that can skew our results. Our testing results are very different this year, and we don't know how much impact. We can speculate, but we do not know exactly what impact having them take the test at home has had. But with that being said, our green is what we're trying to achieve. The more green, the better. And if you look at our math on the left-hand side, you notice for 3 years, 18, 19, and 20, it was trending up. So you see a slight trend up and things were going well. Then what you see is COVID hit and you'll see a big dip. Our red, which is our area of 2 years behind approximately, really kind of came down, and our green went down. Now, on a national level, this is the trend across the United States, is that we are seeing that the math took a bigger hit than our reading did. Sometimes probably, you know, you don't have kids that stay home and just practice just for the heck of it. Whereas when we head over to the reading, kids will read on their own. And so there will be some natural reading growth that occurs. So if you look over at the reading, we had a trend, again, a little trend going up with the green. The green was starting to grow. COVID year hit and it came down some. Same with our red. Our red, we started to get it to go lessen in the last 3 years. So in 2020, it was looking good and trending in the right direction. But again, with COVID, you found is that it came back to really what it was in 2018, our level of red. So we'll see. We may be able to bring that back up a little faster. We don't know. This is the first time we've ever experienced it. So it gives us a hint as to what's really gone on this year and what we can expect next year in terms of kids returning. The last piece of data that's current is this year. So I pulled this report out of our ARIES report, and it was the last day of school. So as of the last day of school, this is chronic absenteeism. Chronic absenteeism is defined by being absent 10% or more during the school year. So with this report, it's interesting. As the months go on, then they're absent more days in order for it to qualify for absenteeism. What you see in the very middle, the highest one is the homeless. It's a little fuzzy. The very middle one is homeless. They really had a difficult time this year. And the other two groupings that you can see had a lot of chronic absenteeism would be our African American group and our foster group. Had a very high chronic absenteeism. Overall, this is higher than a normal year. Just to give you a perspective, is that these numbers are higher overall, and we can see where we may have some more need for intervention for the groups that weren't here and weren't engaged and active. So as we were writing our LCAP, we did take a look at that, and again, with our homeless, we have put in some specific strategies to help and support them, as well as our foster kids. And with our African American, I think a lot of engagement issues that we'll be looking at this year with our trauma and our cell, I think will really help support the lack of engagement from that group, you know. And so those are kind of a couple things in our LCAP that you're going to see that we tried to address that by coming up with some additional activities. Any questions?
We do have a question from the audience.
Oh, okay, let me go back. This one here, Beth, or the one before? Yeah, that one. Okay, so if you look at this one on the ELA, I'll start on the left hand first. The very bottom one, that light green color, that is students with disability. The next one up, the dark blue, is foster youth. Then we look at the light blue one, and that is homeless. Then the SED is that light gray. Do you see the light gray one, kind of purplish? Okay, and then the gold yellowish color one is EL. And the very top one is all students. Mm-hmm. And then do you want me to go over the math? Okay, perfect. Okay.
And just for the board and for the audience, SED is socially disadvantaged. EL is English learner. SWD is students with disabilities. I just want to make a quick statement. If you could go to our iReady data real quick. I think it's really important to note that in 2018, 2019, and then in 2020, our data, our green was starting to really take hold. And obviously, this past year with the pandemic, we struggled, and we as a cabinet, we as a district leadership really have talked a great deal and a great amount of time about, as we prepare the LCAP and all things to prepare for next year, that our focus is to get us back to our 2020 point, and then from there continue to take. So we're really looking this next year to close the gap to what we lost, and then in 2023, look to start, stair stepping that up again. But our goal is just get us back to where we were and close that gap, and then we'll take it from there.
Thank you, Spencer. Do we have any other questions for Ms. Jana?
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
At this point, I'd like to invite the public to speak
Thank
on
you, Spencer.
items that are listed on the
Do
agenda.
we have any
other questions for Ms. Jana? For those attending
Thank you
remotely who
very
wish to
much.
comment, please
Thank
use
you.
the raise your hand button
At this
to
point, I'd
call
like
on to
to
speak.
invite the public
Comments may also be
to
emailed to
speak on
backpack at
items that are
OCESD.
listed on
Please
the
include
agenda.
your
Do we have
first
any
and
other
last
questions
names
from
in the
Jana?
emails. Comments received that pertain to items listed
For
on the
those
agenda
attending remotely who
will
wish
be
to
read into
comment,
the
please
record
use the
during
raise
this
your hand
time.
button to
However,
call
comments
on to
received
speak.
without the sender's name
Comments may
will
also
not be
be
read.
emailed to backpack at
The Brown
OCESD.
Act does not allow
Please
the
include
governing
your
board
first
to
and last
discuss
names
or
in the
take
emails.
action on any item that
Comments
is not
received that
posted on
pertain
the
to
agenda.
items listed
For
on the
those
agenda
attending remotely who
will
wish
be
to
read into
comment,
the
please
record
use the
during
raise
this
your hand
time.
button to
However,
call
comments
on to
received
speak.
without the sender's name
Comments may
will
also
not
be
be
read.
emailed to backpack at
The Brown Act
OCESD.
does not allow the
Please include
governing
your
board
first
to
and last
discuss
names
or
in the
take
emails.
action on any item that
Comments
is not
received that
posted.
with the changes our district has made over the last 15 years, and especially with our students with disabilities, I'm hopeful and thankful that we're making amazing changes and strides in moving forward for the best outcomes for our students. With the changes our district has made over the last 15 years,
And there's the
and
echo.
especially with our students with disabilities, I'm hopeful
Should I
and
keep
thankful
going or
that we're
wait?
making amazing
Over my
changes
years of teaching and
strides in
coaching new
moving forward
teachers
for the
and
best
most
outcomes
recently
for our
substituting for
students.
principals
With the
at my
changes our
site,
district has made
I've
over
had
the
4
last
key
15
themes
years,
that
and
tend to guide
especially with
everything that I do.
disabilities,
Communication,
should I keep going or
self-advocacy,
over my years of
critical
teaching and
thinking,
coaching new teachers
and independent
most recently
skills.
substituting
So I
for
look
principals
forward
at my
to
site,
continuing this journey
I've
with the
had 4
district.
key themes
Thank you.
that tend to guide everything that I do. Communication,
Jody?
self-advocacy,
Over my years of
critical
teaching and
thinking,
coaching new teachers
and independent most recently
skills.
substituting
So I
for
look
principals
forward
at my
to
site,
continuing this journey
I've
with the
had 4
district.
key themes
Thank you.
that tend to guide everything that I do. Communication,
Jody?
self-advocacy,
Over my years of
critical
teaching and
thinking,
coaching new teachers
and independent
most recently
skills.
substituting
I
for
look
did
forward
you
to
see
continuing
Shakara
this
Richardson?
journey with the
She won
district.
fastest
Thank you.
woman.
That
She's
tend
going to
guide
Tokyo.
everything that I do.
So excited.
Communication,
Jody? I saw that earlier today.
Over my years of
Made me
critical
cry.
thinking and independent skills.
Oh,
I
did
look
you
forward
see
to continuing
Shakara
this
Richardson?
journey with the
She won
district.
fastest
Thank you.
woman.
That
She's
tend
going to
guide
Tokyo.
everything that I do.
So excited.
Communication,
So we're going
I
to
saw
take
that
a
earlier.
moment and see if we can't resolve
Made
the
me cry.
technical issues.
and independent skills.
Oh, did you see Shakara Richardson? She won fastest woman. She's going to Tokyo.
So excited. So we're going to take a moment and see if we can't resolve the technical issues.
And independent skills.
Oh, did you see Shakara Richardson? She won fastest woman. She's going to Tokyo.
So excited. There we go. I'd like to, at this time, I'd like to move on to the consent agenda. Do we have any comments or concerns about the consent agenda?
Madam President, I would like to make make an amendment to our personnel administrative management employees. As I've shared with the board, currently on the administrative management employees in the personnel recommendations, we have Kimberly Tyler making a change from 1.0 FTE to an 0.80 FTE. And I would like to recommend that that be changed or amended to read 0.6 from a 0.8, and then have the salary schedule reflect that change to the 0.6. And then on Jody Waddell's change of assignments from a 20% director, and she would go to a 0.40% director of special education, and her salary would reflect that change as well.
Thank you. Do we have any comments or concerns about this item from the board? Okay, do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I'll make a motion, we approve the consent agenda with the changes requested by Dr. Holtum.
Second?
I second.
Pam, how do you vote?
Aye.
Sharon, how do you vote?
Aye.
Jessica, how do you vote?
Yes.
Bill, how do you vote?
Yes.
I vote aye. The motion carries. On to new business, approval of the master agreement with the OETA Orville Elementary Teachers Association 2021 to 24.
So this is a renewal of the tentative agreement with CSEA regarding the living contract every 3 years. With both associations, we do we look to get a ratification to continue all of our agreements that have been TA'd over the years.
Thank you. Do we have any comments or concerns about this item? Motion to approve the master agreement with OETA for 2021 through 2024.
So moved.
Second?
A second.
Bill, how do you vote?
Yes.
Jessica, how do you vote?
Yes.
Sharon, how do you vote? Can.
This is for CSEA.
Oh, CSEA.
CSEA.
Thank you. Yeah, aye.
Pam, how do you vote?
Aye.
Dr. Holtum, before we go any further, is agendized is the OETA.
Oh, excuse me, OETA. So you can abstain from this.
Yeah.
But there's no financial implications. So
Thank you. I vote aye. The motion carries. At this time, I'd like to approve the job description for a new position of Coordinator of Curriculum, Instruction, and Assessment.
thank you, Madam President. It is recommended that the job description for the new Coordinator of Curriculum, Instruction, and Assessment be approved. I would like with this board item also make a small amendment to this to make it more clarifying for those who would read it or see it, to ensure it's very transparent in what we need in this position. In the agreement under, let me pull it up for just one second. Under the education and/or experience, it requires a valid California teaching credential for grades K-8 with English language authorizations a master's degree in educational administration is preferred, or the ability to obtain an administrative service credential. Just to make sure that it is understood that this person must receive or have a valid administrative service credential, I would like to add and amend that last sentence to where it says a master's degree in educational administration is preferred and must hold administrative service credential or ability to qualify for one upon hiring. That way, those who would see this understand very clearly that they must have the authorization to be eligible for a administrative service credential or currently have one.
Thank you, Dr. Holtum. Do we have any questions or concerns?
Yes, we had one for the audience.
Thank you.
From the audience. This is a new position, correct?
So this is a 2-year temporary to assist with curriculum and instruction in order to assist with the requirements of the DOJ, more specifically.
So this position has been accounted in the current budget that we have. We will be using our ESSER and other grant funds that we have. I will be making it very clear to any applicants that move through the interview process that this is currently funded for 2 years. And this will primarily be helping us not only with the work that we're doing with the Department of Justice, but also allow us to continue to work with curriculum and instruction as we look to get our district back on track from the curriculum and instruction standpoint.
Any further comments or concerns? Questions? Okay. Motion to approve the job description for a new position of coordinator, curriculum, instruction, and assessment with the amendments.
I move that we approve the job description with the amendments.
Second?
Second.
Sharon, how do you vote?
Aye.
Jessica, how do you vote?
Yes.
Bill, how do you vote?
Yes.
Pam, how do you vote?
Aye.
I vote aye, the motion carries. At this time, we'd like to approve the 21-22 LCAP, Local Accountability Plan.
It is recommended that the 2021 Local Control and Accountability Plan be approved as presented. A public hearing on this item was held on June 16th, 2021. The LCAP is attached and is posted on the OCESD website at ocesd.net at this time.
Thank you. Do we have any comments or concerns about this item?
Just, I noticed maybe a typo on page 32. Looks like it has some extra verbiage in there that maybe wasn't supposed to be there. It has how to, the basic formatting for citing a book reference is in there. I think that should be removed. Page 32, the first line, visible learning, the basic form for a book citation is last name, first name, title of book. I think none of that is supposed to be in there. It does not fit. There's a sentence there that I think was inadvertently copied in.
Do you see that?
Janet took note of that and will,
Okay.
yeah.
And then I just wanted to comment on the action plan to increase or improve services for the socioeconomically disadvantaged students, that I was glad to see some real concrete action plan steps to take for those students that have been experiencing trauma, the increased the translators, tracking band participation, the differentiated instruction with technology, the extra counseling. So I'm glad to see that those are solid action steps, and I hope that that then will impact those numbers that we saw with our students that need extra help. So thank you for addressing that specifically.
Thank you. Any further comment? Motion to approve with the amendment?
I move that we approve the LCAP with the amendment.
Second?
Second.
Bill, how do you vote?
Yes.
Jessica, how do you vote?
Yes.
Sharon, how do you vote?
Aye.
Pam, how do you vote?
Aye.
I vote aye, the motion carries. Approval of single plans for student achievement for 21-22 school year.
It is recommended that the single plans for student achievement for Central Middle School, Ishii Hills Middle School, Oakdale Heights Elementary, Ophir Elementary, Stanford Avenue Elementary, and Wyandotte Academy Schools are approved as presented. I've reviewed these plans. These are the single site plans. They all are unique and different in their own ways based on the demographics they serve, the data that they have, and the needs that they have as a student student population and staffing needs.
Thank you. Do we have any comments or questions about those? Go ahead, Sharon.
I was pleased at the substance in the plans and that they were each unique. I was glad to see that they address the specific needs of their school. The one thing I was really concerned about, though, was the needs assessment from parents. There is a very small percentage of respondents, it seems like. And I know that that can be a challenge, but it seems like it is significant and that it needs to be addressed for future years for needs assessments to determine other ways to solicit a higher percentage of responses from our parents, because we need to know what they need, what they want, what they know. We can't meet their needs if we don't know what they are. So that was my only concern in reading these.
So we'll make note of that. In the past, at times, to solicit better parent participation, we've incentivized, surveys and things like that. And so I think probably really important, a little more difficult this past year, but certainly an issue that this district has had in the past couple of years. And we have seen some increased participation with, incentivizing the students if they bring those back. So I think we'll move back in that direction. Thank you.
Jody,
Uh,
and then Beth.
Madam President, may I speak?
Pam, we have Beth Parmentier, and then your turn.
Thank you.
Excellent tip. Thank you. Pam?
So I couldn't hear Beth, unfortunately. So if I'm saying the same thing, stop me. Is there any possible way that we could do this at open house? If we made the survey short enough to get them at the open house, some additional information, since a lot of the parents show up to that.
Yep. Great minds think alike.
So Beth had shared that at parent-teacher conferences, when there's that personal touch and
Okay.
when they're right there, and on the note that you just shared, Pamela, I think that's a great point. And in previous years, and my previous district, and I don't know if we've done it here, is we've always had a parent table at open house or back to school night where we had our parent liaison, doing those kind of surveys at that time because they could fill it out right there. They usually had a little incentive that we could give them, and then we get it back, immediately, and we have that feedback. So I think all three ideas are really valuable and something we need to take advantage of. And I know Janet's taking notes over there, so I think we'll start with the back to school and asking our parent liaisons to to man a booth, and then we'll move to the parent teacher conferences that come along in October and November, and then move from there.
Okay, any further comments concerning the single plans for student achievement? Can I have a motion to approve? Second?
Second.
Pam, how do you vote?
Aye.
Sharon, how do you vote?
Aye.
Jessica, how do you vote?
Yes.
Bill, how do you vote?
Yes.
I vote aye, the motion carries. On to business and finance, adopt the original budget for 21-22 fiscal school year.
So I'm filling in for Andrew James tonight. Andrew has his 20th anniversary tonight, and so he's excused this evening. It is recommended that the original budget for the 21-22 fiscal year be adopted. A public hearing on this item was held last week on June 16th, 2021. The 21-22 original budget is attached and is posted on the OCESD website.
Thank you. Do we have any further questions or concerns about this item? May I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Sharon, how do you vote?
Aye.
Jessica, how do you vote?
Yes.
Bill, how do you vote?
Yes.
Pam, how do you vote?
Aye.
I vote aye. The budget is adopted. Approve the 21-22 local control funding formula budget overview for parents. Again, this presentation was last week. If you didn't have the opportunity, maybe, do we have that posted on the OCESD website?
That's a great question. I'm not 100% sure at this time if Andrew posted it. If not, we will post that.
Good deal.
It is recommended that we approve the 21-22 LCFF budget overview for parents be approved as presented. If it hasn't been posted to the website, I will ask Andrew to do so.
Thank you. It was very informative. Do I have a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion. We approve the 2021 local control funding formula budget overview for parents that was presented on June 16th.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Bill, how do you vote?
Yes.
Jessica, how do you vote?
Yes.
Sharon, how do you vote?
Aye.
Pam, how do you vote?
Aye.
I vote aye, the motion carries. Approve the proposed ending funding balances for fiscal year 21-22.
Thank you, Madam President. It is recommended that the proposed ending fund balance for the 21-22 fiscal year be approved as presented and as was presented last week in our budget overview.
Do we have any questions or concerns? May I have a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion. We approve the proposed ending fund balance for fiscal year 2021, or I'm sorry, 2021, 2022, as presented at the June 16th meeting.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
A second.
Pam, how do you vote?
Aye.
Sharon, how do you vote?
Aye.
Jessica, how do you vote?
Yes.
Bill, how do you vote?
Yes.
I vote aye. The motion carries. That concludes our meeting for this evening. Thank you very much for everyone who attended. The time is 6:41.
Thank you, Madam President.
See you next month.